can show them that I know my family matters like a Winslow. Outdoors smoking indo.
And welcome back to another CGS vid. I'm your host CGS, and today we are going over the fourth video of the NFL prediction series this season, the AFC North. Might be the toughest division this upcoming season, other than maybe the NFC East and the AFC West. In my opinion, I think this division is loaded with lots of talent on each roster, and it's really hard to decide which team is going to come out on top and be the division champions. Other than that, let's go and jump right into this AFC North. Let's go. And the first team we are looking at in today's video is the Pittsburgh Steelers, my father's favorite team. Shout out my dad, even though he doesn't watch my videos. Last year I said this team will go 8-9, first losing record in Mike Tomlin's career. That didn't happen. They went 9-8. One off. I was one off last year, but it's all right. But last year I didn't expect much from his team, seeing as Mitch Trubisky is not a good quarterback, and once I knew the time was coming when Kenny Pickett was going to play, I just don't know how well he could play, and he didn't play well the first few games he started. Right, that second half of the season really kicked it up, almost made the playoffs. If they beat the Dolphins on that Monday night game, they make the playoffs. But let's go ahead and get into it. Steelers finished 9-8 last year, as I already said, averaging 322.6 yards a game, 200.6 through the air, 121.9 on the ground, only scoring 18.1 points a game, ranking them the 23rd best offense in the league. Defense side of the ball, giving up 330.4 yards a game, 222.3 through the air, 108.1 on the ground, averaging 20.4 points a game, a +4 turnover differential, but giving them the 13th best defense in the NFL last season. And something needed to change. This obviously his first year without Big Ben last year. We all didn't think the Steelers would do much, but they showed out. They didn't play up to the standards they're used to playing, what Mike Tomlin standards are, but they still got the job done in that second half of the season. You released William Jackson after trading him for midway last year. Obviously, he didn't play up well. He hasn't played well since he entered the league. Big signing was DeMonte KZ after losing Terrell Edmonds to the Eagles. 2 years. DeMonte KZ, he can come in. He could be a really good safety. You agreed to terms with Cole Holcomb, help out that middle of the defense, especially after releasing Miles Jack, which was really strange because Miles Jack really didn't play bad, and he was a good leader on that defensive side of the ball. I guess things just really didn't work out. Patrick Peterson, another great signing. You lost Cam Sutton. And you released Akil Weatherspoon, and you need that veteran help on those DB sides. You re-signed Zach Gentry. It's really weird considering Pat Freiermuth, Connor Hayward, and now Darnell Washington from Georgia. So it's gonna be really weird seeing what they do. And you also signed Keanu Neal, really really hard hitter. I love Keanu Neal. He's played well since he's been in the league. Just bounced around a few teams lately. Miles Boykin, really good return man when needed. And released Arthur Mallett, signed Shannon Sullivan. And honestly, really nothing else stands out. Obviously, you signed Marcus Golden. You could have had Bud Dupree back. Obviously, things fell through. Then we go fast forward a month to the draft. Picked up Broderick Jones to help out that really weak offensive line. Really needed. Kenny Pickett really struggled. Was really forced to throw out of the pocket, throw out a sack a lot. So that's going to help the offensive line out a lot. Signed Joey Porter Jr. Really great story, seeing as how Joey Porter Sr. played linebacker for the Steelers, won a few championships with them. Really nice to see. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Darnell Washington out of Georgia. Really good signing. Also got Corey Trice Jr. from Purdue. Also a really good pick. I enjoyed that. The Steelers clearly made some improvements after, seeing as how last year didn't really work out on the DB side of the ball. However, I do think, as I said, this team is in a really tough division, per se. I don't see them making the playoffs, but I don't see them winning. I don't see them losing a lot of games by more than one score. Obviously, this team has what it needs to compete. You got Najee Harris. You have Deontay Johnson. You went and traded for Allen Robinson from the Rams, which is really good. That's your wide receiver too. George Pickens, cool. I still don't get the hype around George Pickens. I really don't. However, and then like I said earlier, Pat Freiermuth, he's a really good tight end, really big body tight end who can help you out when needed. Defensive side of the ball, you got Cameron Hayward. You got Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. You got these guys who can help you win. And obviously Minka Fitzpatrick, he's a top 5 safety in the league. Like he is. I don't know why people disrespect Minka, but he is a top 5 safety. And the pieces are there. The pieces are there for this team to win. They just have to put it all together, and they're gonna get it. They're gonna put it all together with Mike Tomlin. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Steelers' schedule for this next season. You open up week 1 at home against San Francisco, loss. That San Francisco defense, their offense, one of the best teams in the NFL. So we're gonna start with a loss. You come back Monday night, week 2 against the Browns. I say you win that one. You beat the Raiders in Las Vegas. You beat Houston in Houston. I say you lose to Baltimore once. That will give you 3 wins and 2 losses going to your bye week in week 6. You come back out of your bye week. I think you lose to the Rams. You're gonna lose to Jacksonville. You'll pick it up against Tennessee. You'll beat Green Bay. I think Cleveland gets 1 game on you. I think Cincinnati beats you. You beat Arizona. You beat New England. I think I said y'all beat the Colts. Cincinnati will end up sweeping. I think you lose to Seattle, and I think you end up getting 1 on Baltimore to close out the season. All in all, I see the Steelers going 9-8 for the 2nd year in a row. I just think they got a little bit, maybe if they weren't playing the Niners and the Seahawks, obviously I believe the Seahawks are a better team. If they weren't playing like the West, I would think the Steelers would have a much better record. Obviously the Bengals are obviously a better team. Ravens got better. Bringing back, we're about to get into that. Obviously, the Browns are up there now, too. But Mike Tomlin still doesn't have a losing record, but I would be surprised if this team makes the playoffs as a wild card at 9-8. The next team we are looking at today, the Baltimore Ravens, a team with had a lot of questions coming into this offseason. Was Lamar going to stay? What the hell was even going on with the organization? It was all about Lamar. However, before we get into that, let's go ahead and look at the stats from last year. Finished with a 10-7 record, even with Lamar missing a majority of the season. Tyler Huntley led y'all to a wild card game where you ultimately lose to the Bengals. 10-7 record. Offense averaged 338.8 yards a game, 178.8 yards through the air, 160 on the ground game. Amazing. Getting 160 rush yards a game is great. Holy shit. Averaging 20.6 points per game, only giving you the 16th best offense in the league. Defensive side of the ball. 324.3 yards given up a game, 232.2 through the air, 92.1 on the ground. Really good run defense. Only giving up 18.5 points a game, a +4 turnover differential with the top 10 defense at number 10. This team played well last year, and if Lamar didn't get hurt, I believe they even have a better record. But let's go and get into the offseason. Obviously, the whole situation with Lamar, y'all finally got him re-signed. Major for this team, right? Because we knew there was a whole bunch of questions surrounding Lamar. What was going to happen? What was going to go down? You released Calais Campbell. He's really getting up there in age. And when Baltimore signed Nelson Aguilar, you just thought, you're like, oh, this is where Lamar doesn't fucking come back at this point. Obviously, the Odell signing, really good signing. That was really, really needed. And that, Lamar, 5-year deal. You re-signed Patrick Queen, who you got in a trade from Chicago this past season. Really good trade. You signed Rocky Singh, corner, to 1-year deal. And nothing really else stands out, honestly, when you look at the transaction list. Laquan Treadwell's there now, too. Cool. You drafted Zay Flowers, another receiver that can help Lamar Jackson out. Obviously, Odell, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, when he plays healthy, I think that trio is going to be good. That's going to be a fast trio. It's going to be really fun to watch. Obviously, you still got Mark Andrews, one of the best top 5 tight ends in the league right now. Marcus Peters still there. The defense, Marlon Humphrey still a top corner. Marcus Williams has always played like a top safety ever since he's been drafted into the league. And it's just this team, they're in a good spot. I like where the Ravens are at right now, and especially if Odell can stay healthy, if Lamar can stay healthy. This team was just really injury prone last year. That's all it is. But I do feel like if the team can stay healthy throughout the entirety of the season, that they have a really good chance to win this division. I really believe so. Because last year, if Lamar plays a full season, maybe the Ravens, maybe they host a playoff game. Who knows? Obviously, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, really good running back duo. Love seeing them. Obviously, when Lamar is healthy, he can run, he can scramble. And it's just like I said, it's just injuries affected this team. Obviously, the offensive line can play a little bit better, help your quarterback out. And I hate when people are like, oh, this is Lamar's getting hurt because he's running so much. No, like the majority of Lamar's injuries have come from sitting inside the pocket trying to make a throw downfield and getting hit. So if this O line can play a lot better than what they have in recent years, I believe the Ravens can make a great, great playoff push with the team they have now. Now let's go ahead and look at the upcoming schedule for this Baltimore Ravens team. You start week 1 against Houston, win. Week 2 against the Bengals, I think you'll drop one to the Bengals. Yeah, they always play each other tough. So 1-1. Week 3 win. Week 4 win. Week 5 win. Week 6 win. Week 7 win. Week 8 win. Week 9 win. Week 10 win. So what? You go on a 7-game win streak after starting 1-1. So that puts you at 9-1 right there. Then you play Cincy again. I think Cincy sweeps y'all this year. I think you drop to the Chargers, which puts you at 9-3. So you're 9-3 going into your Week 13 bye week, a late bye week. That's what this team needs to be great. You know, that late bye is really gonna help. You come out of your bye week, you beat the Rams, you go to 10-3. You go to Jacksonville, you beat Jacksonville 11-3. I think you'll lose to San Fran, put you at an 11-4 record. I think you beat Miami, put you at 12-4. And I did say you dropped the last game of the season to the Steelers. The Steelers will put you at 12-5. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, 12-5, that's probably a reach. But nah, honestly, when you look at the schedule, Indy, young team, really not going to pose any threat. The Browns, Ravens always play the Browns tough. They'll win that one. They always play the Steelers tough. They'll win at least one. Titans are going to be one of the worst teams. Lions are going to end up dropping one to a really good team such as the Ravens. Cardinals, one of the worst teams. Seahawks, I think the Ravens are just better. I said, y'all sweep the Browns. Y'all won't lose again until week 11 after week 2. And it's just that stretch from week 3 to week 10 this is where this team is going to show what they're capable of and see just how close they can be to winning this division. The next team we are looking at is the Cincinnati Bengals, the champions of the AFC North for the past few years. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Finished 12-4 last year, obviously won the division. Averaged 360.5 yards a game last year on offense, 265 through the air, 95.5 through the ground, averaging 26.1 points a game, 8th best total offense in the league. Defensive wise, not too great, giving up 359.7 yards a game, 229.1 through the air, 106.6 on the ground. Giving up 20.1 points a game, a +6 turnover differential, which is really good, but the 16th best defense in the league, bottom half defense. Obviously, this team really didn't make many improvements this year, but they did lose a few key pieces. You re-signed Jermaine Pratt to a 3-year deal. He's the leader of that defense. He's been playing really well these last few years. Big one is Orlando Brown to a 4-year contract. Obviously, last year they signed La'el Collins. Things really didn't work out. We know that we have the history with the Bengals O-line. Not really that good. You lost Hayden Hurst, but you went and signed Irv Smith Jr., who, when healthy, can be a good, decent tight end for another weapon for Joe Burrow. Obviously, you exercise Joe Burrow's 5th-year option. He's going to get a deal soon. But really, other than that, no off-season signings. Draft-wise, you got Myles Murphy out of Clemson with pick 28, and you also drafted DJ Turner with the number 60th pick, and Jordan Battle with the 95th pick from Alabama. Obviously, you lost Jesse Bates. It seemed like he's been wanting out for a while. So Daxton Hill is going to come in. I can't wait to see Daxton Hill play. I really, ever since Dax Hill was at Michigan, love seeing him play. Chidobe Awuzie, he'll come back. He's going to be coming off a torn ACL. He's going to play even better than what he has been. Eli Apple, we know his story. He's not even on the roster right now, but you rebuilt kind of a little bit on the defense. Obviously, that's not going to really affect this team the way they play. Obviously, Joe Mixon has some offseason troubles, but he's obviously going to return after a speculation that he wouldn't. Obviously, you got one of the better wide receiver trios in this league. You got Jamar, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. And I always the disrespect T. Higgins gets is not right. This question came up last year around the same time. I was like, nobody can name 30 receivers better than T. Higgins, and nobody still can. Nobody can still do that right now, And I just think this is obviously a better wide receiver trio in the league, top 5. Joe Burrow has a lot of weapons. He has a better O line than what he's used to. Obviously, you got some. I think Samaje Perine left in free agency. I think he signed with the Broncos. You got Joe Mixon though. He's gonna come in, do what he does. Obviously, didn't play up to the standards last year, but this team is still the outright favorite to win this division. Now, obviously, the Ravens. I just gave them a 12-5 record, but you know, I think it's gonna be neck and neck with these two teams, and I can't really wait to see how it plays out. Obviously, the Ravens winning got better while the Bengals kind of stayed stagnant. But it's always a fun matchup when we see, these teams go at it. So I am really excited to see this division how it plays out. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Cincinnati Bengals schedule. All right, week 1 you start against the Browns. I believe you lose that one game against the Browns. Browns usually get one on the Bengals almost every season, so I say the Browns win the week 1 game. Week 2 I said you beat the Ravens. Week 3 I think you beat LA. Week 4, you beat Tennessee. Week 5, you beat Arizona, the worst teams in the league. I think week 6, you can beat Seattle. So you're going into your bye week 7 at 5-1. You come out, I think you lose to San Fran at 5-2. I think you lose to Buffalo, which would put you at 5-3. I think you beat Houston. I said you sweep both Baltimore and the Steelers. Will put you at 8-3. Sorry, 8-3. You beat Jacksonville 9-3. You beat Indy 10-3. You beat Minnesota 11-3. You beat Pittsburgh again 12-3. I think you lose to Kansas City, put you at 12-4, and I think you beat the Browns for the last week, put you at 13-4. So I believe the Bengals go 13-4. Obviously, it's going to come down to Ravens and Bengals, I believe, for the division, especially because I have the Ravens going 12-5, the Bengals going 13-4. So if if let's say it happens hypothetically, if the Ravens even get one on the Bengals, that can change the ties of this entire season, change the trajectory of the entire, this division. Obviously, I still believe the Bengals are the better team in this division, but as we all know, anything is possible in this league. Take my record opinion with a grain of salt. Well, but like I said before, I'm excited to see how this division plays out. And the final team we're looking at today is the Cleveland Browns. This team was just really weird to me, so let's go ahead and get into it. Finished 7-10 last year. Obviously, Deshaun Watson missed half the year due to a suspension. Even still, you averaged 349.1 yards a game, 202.6 through the air, and 146.5 on the ground. Scoring 21.2 points a game, giving you the 14th best offense in the league. Defensive side of the ball, you gave up 331.2 yards a game, 196.2 through the air, and 135 on the ground. Giving up 22.4 points a game with a -1 turnover differential, giving you the 14th best defense in the league. Pretty even team, right? We get it. And, I'm like, as I said, Deshaun Watson missed half the year. Jacoby Brissett was forced to play. He didn't play necessarily bad, but obviously, this team didn't perform up to the expectations they had assumed. And when I'm looking at, their signings and their releases, and nothing stands out to me, honestly. Signed Jordan Akins. He'll be a really good backup tight end behind David Njoku. But, I'm going through the rest of the list. They re-signed Anthony Walker. They also required Elijah Moore from the Jets in a trade, which will really help out that wide receiver room with Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones. And as I said, obviously they signed Marquise Goodwin, really good slot guy. He's getting up there in age. But other than that, I'm looking and it's just really nothing stands out. And this team didn't pick till the 3rd round of this draft a few months ago. With their first pick, they took Cedric Tillman, receiver from Tennessee. Obviously, I haven't heard much about Tillman. Obviously he's really, to what some people say about him online. Obviously he can create separation. He's a really good guy. With their second pick in the 3rd round, Sakai Iki, D tackle from Baylor, helping out that interior D line. Considering you traded for Zadarius Smith to pair him up with Myles Garrett, so they're going to be rushing off the edges quite a bit, I assume. Helping out the O line with DeJuan Jones, Ohio State tackle. Obviously that O line could beef up a little bit. And you also drafted Dorian Thompson-Robinson to be the backup behind Deshaun. I like DTR. I think he'll be ready to be a starter in this league one day. But other than that, I really didn't see anything that stood out to me, when it came to signings and drafting. But I really don't have much faith in this team, considering that I don't believe Deshaun Watson's situation reminds me of Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, we've seen Deshaun play last year, those last few games, and it wasn't great. It wasn't. And when we think back to Le'Veon Bell, he sat out a whole year. He comes back, signs with the Jets, and he just doesn't play like the same. Do I believe that will have an effect on Deshaun Watson? It could. There's a possibility that it will. But I wish all the best for Deshaun. I hope he comes back and plays like his former Texan self, like he used to. Obviously, you got Amari Cooper, you got Elijah Moore, you got Donovan Peoples-Jones, Nick Chubb in the backfield. You don't have Kareem Hunt anymore, but you got David Njoku, and that team could. That's a deadly offense if they all play well, if they all stay healthy. On the defensive side, you got Myles Garrett. It's as I said, you traded for Zadarius Smith. You got Denzel Ward, a top 10 corner in this league. Greg Newsome plays really well. And it's just weird. Like I said, this team really didn't get better off of, their signings and free agency. Obviously, they drafted pretty decent, in my opinion. But do I see the Browns being any better than last year? A little bit. However, I just don't see the improvements where they were needed at. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Browns' upcoming schedule for the season. I already said you beat Cincinnati week 1 at home. You lose to Steelers on the road week 2. You start off 1-1. You beat Tennessee 2-1. You lose to Baltimore, put you at 2-2 going to your bye week 5. Early bye week, not the best. Yeah, it's gonna be rough. You're 2-3. You're 2-2 into your bye week. You come out your bye week. You're 2-3 after losing to the Niners. You beat the Colts, put you at 3-3. I think you'll lose to Seattle, put you at 3-4. You beat Arizona, put you at 4-4. You lose to Baltimore, and then you beat Pittsburgh for the first time in the second matchup, to put you at 5-5. I think you'll beat Denver, put you at 6-5. I think you'll lose to the Rams, put you at 6-6. You lose to the Jags and the Bears back to back, put you at 6-8. I think you beat the Texans, put you at 7-8. I think you'll lose to the Jets, put you at 7-9, and you'll lose to the Bengals the last week, putting you at 7-10. I believe a 7-10 7-win season is in order for this Browns team this year. Like I said, I don't believe Deshaun Watson made the right decision sitting out. Obviously, he sat out for a whole year on the Texans, missed a third of the season this past year, only playing a few games. And like I said, with the whole Le'Veon Bell situation, we know how that plays out, and I really think that's going to play a factor. And it's just like I said, I didn't really see this team make any great improvements this year to boost them into be a playoff team, which is the 7-10 record. Obviously, you got tough teams such as the Bengals, such as the Ravens, the Niners, that you play the Jets, the Jaguars, all those teams. And it's going to play in, and I think it's only right this team wins 7 games this next season. Hypothetically speaking, as always, if let's say every prediction I make comes true, here's how the division would look. Bengals would win the AFC North with a 13-4 record. Ravens would be 1 game behind them with 12-5. Steelers finished 9-8, and the Browns will come in last yet again with a 7-10 record. This officially marks the halfway point of these prediction videos. We have 4 done, 4 more to go, and then after that, we'll make a playoff prediction video based off my predictions from every division prediction video. I want to thank you once again for watching. It does mean a lot, especially because it does take a while to make these videos. Promise I'll try to get them done as quickly as I can. In the meantime, keep out for the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.
Blood don't make you kinfolk. Loyalty is what I send for. No half stepping, only 10 toes. Now life is at a different tempo.